Hello everybody, Chaz Large back with another repair on the bench, and this time it's something I've never come across before. Well, years ago when CB radios and that first came out, I dealt with some some amplifiers in cars, but this one just is beyond. I've not seen one of these before. It's a JL Audio. It's an A4300 Class AB 4-channel full range amplifier. You can just see it there on that camera, and you can probably see it on that camera as well. And basically what the customer has said is that there's no output on the rear channels 3 and 4, and there's possibly been water ingress, but there's also the input sensitivity gain pots are bad. One's wedged fully with electrical tape, and that's these little switches here on the inside. So obviously with the potential for water ingress, there's a potential for a lot of problems, and I don't want to power it up until I've had a look at that first. So I think the best thing to do is to get it apart. That seems to be either needing, these are either Allen keys, or they might be Torx. No, I'm not sure. That I think they're just Allen keys, to get that end off and that end off there. That seems to be the only screws apart. Oh yeah, sorry, I tell a lie, there's some more underneath. Let's have a look at the ones, and that might be easier to have a look at those underneath first. Anyway, I'll do that whilst the titles are running. So here we are with that lid taken off, and it's quite a nice looking board. Luckily it's all labelled left, rear, front, right, front, etc. So there's lots of bits and pieces marked, so we should be able to work things out. We've got supply for it is 12 volts DC and ground going in there. On this bit here we've got channel 1, channel 2, channel 3, channel 4, minimum 2 ohms for each, or bridged 4 ohms on the two outside for 2 channels presumably. Okay, and on the other side on here we've got inputs, channel 1, 2, 3 and 4, left and right. Left and right, so there's 4 channels, but it's 2 lots of stereo effectively, presumably preamp outputs. That says preamp outs, amplifier status, remote base port is there through an RJ. What's it? There's one of the pots that was jammed with tape, so we'll have to clean that one up. And then we've got filters for channels 1 and 2, and then 3 and 4 here. So that's the 2 sensitivity inputs, and selection of bass, boost, F, off, input from 1 and 2, discrete, and so on. So I've actually I managed to find an instruction manual for one of these, but I couldn't find initially a service manual, but I wrote to JL and they very kindly emailed me a PDF. So I've got a full manual for it, so fingers crossed we won't need to refer to it too much, but if we need to, we've got a circuit, which makes a big difference. I've got another amplifier behind me that I've been working on that's very complicated, no manual, no support from the manufacturer, nothing on the web at all. Anyway, might finish that one, might not at some stage. Right, I can't see any signs of water ingress on this side of the board. Well, no, I tell a lie, that's not quite true. I thought I couldn't see it, but now the light is just in a slightly different angle. I can see it. Let's get the camera there so you can see there. Look, can you see that? He says finding a pointer. This looks like water has ingressed into there and gone down underneath this capacitor by the look of it. So I think we need to get to the other side of the circuit board and check. We've got 3 lots of capacitors if we measure across them, we'll know whether we've got any shorts occurred before we apply any voltages to it. So let's get the two ends off, and presumably that allows us to take this chassis out. So it did turn out to be an Allen key. I managed to find a driver for it. Yeah, it feels like it's getting it all loose. Anyway, let's whiz these screws out. And release the screws. Okay, so we've got little screws in there as well, so we need to undo those as well, and I think that's a smaller size. Yep, just get my little tray of Allen keys out, because I haven't got a smaller bit, but I've got loads of Allen keys collected over the years. I think that might be the size. Yeah, that's a good guess, wasn't it? Oh, spin it around if I turn it at the top. Just keep spinning it round. Hopefully that top, yep, that comes away, and we'll just retrieve that bit of tape that the customer put in there. Alright, so we need to undo the screws on this side as well. We've got 1, 2, 3 screws on there. Put that driver in there as well. So I think now we should be able to, oh no, I was going to say slide the circuit board out, but board is in this slot, but the output stages are clipped to this, because this chassis here is not only chassis, it's also heatsink. So it looks like we've got to undo all the clips. Oh no, that's not great, but we've got to look at where this liquid is. Let's have a look and see if we can see if liquid's gone inside it from this side as well. Well, looking at that, I can't see. Let's get the close-up cam in there. There doesn't appear to be any ingress on that side of the board. So I think we may be lucky, but without being able to check across those, I would guess these across here are power rails from one side to the other, and I would guess they would probably be alright. Don't know. You just get the old magnifying glass on there and have a look and see if there's any. Just have a little look under here for a minute. No, can't see anything, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to treat it that it has a little bit of ingress down to here and nothing further. Just clean that off with isopropyl and then we'll connect it up and power it up. It looks like the circuit board is actually conform coated. I'm not sure, which it might be, in which case liquid damage may not have done it any harm, except if it was ingressed whilst it was powered up. So we clean the board up. Right, time to connect it up. I'll be back after the cut because I've got to find lots of bits of wire and stuff. Right, here we are, connected up. I've got a power supply connected up. I've got speakers connected up to channels 1 and 2, and I've got audio ready to go in. Let's see what happens when we apply power. I've got my power supply set up. Maximum current I can deliver from this power supply is only 2.7 amps. It may not be enough to turn this on. Let's see. It's not drawing excessive current. And there's no lights coming on either. What are the LEDs saying? Power is one of them. So there's no power getting from it. We've got a remote on this. Here it's got remote. I've got a feeling we need to apply a voltage to that to turn it on. Otherwise it would be on all the time if it's connected across the power supply, wouldn't it? Let me have a brief look at the manual. Yes, I was right. I've just looked at the service manual and it requires 12 volts on the remote input there. So let me get another piece of wire to do that with. Right, looked at the service manual and sure enough it does require a 12 volt into the remote to switch it on, obviously like you have the ignition of a car. Forget I'm working on a car audio piece. So all wired up, haven't tested it yet. I've just made up a quick little test lead there with a switch on it so I can switch it on and off. We've got output set up, so turn on the output and switch on the amplifier and see what happens. So we have a green light on here, and the green light indicates amplifier power. So that's good. Didn't hear any pops out of the speakers. But I can find if I holding near there. So just in case my audio output on this is set a bit high, media, turn that right down to minimum and start playing some music. Well, it's working, and I've got an output from both channels. What did he say? No output on rear channel 3 and 4. Right, okay, so now we've got to check speakers onto the rear channel. Let's turn it off. Let's connect some other speakers. I've got another pair of speakers on here, which I should be able to wire that in. Save having to, because these connectors are all well and good. So excuse me a minute while I get this out because I've got to reorganize something. I'll be back after the cut. Okay, so I've now connected up speakers 3 and 4 channels there. Not turned it on yet. Let's turn it on. We should get music straight away. Right, that's from these channels, but 3 and 4 are separate input channels. So nothing at all from 3 and 4. So I've now got to work out which way around this is. So channels 3 and 4 filter mode off. I think we found the fault. We have bad switch. Well, he said that the controls were dodgy. That switch there is definitely at fault. So I'm going to turn it off and just try some good old contact cleaner in there. So just to show you what I can see in here. It's this little toggle switch there, which is very loose. The other one also a bit loose, so I guess that'll probably need cleaning as well. So let's just put some contact cleaner in there, slide it across, and switch them backwards and forwards a little bit. Right, let's turn it on. Yeah. I'm switching it, but there's no. Oh, hang on. Oh yeah. I thought for a minute I hadn't got anything on that channel, but it's clicking. And that's the input sensitivity. So that filter is off, so there's no filtering being applied, and the filter frequency is there, but we've got no signal. I very much suspect that that switch itself is faulty completely, because it's crackling, and I can hear, when I do that, I can hear crackling from the speaker. And I think momentarily there was a little bit of music breaking through. I think I'm going to have to replace that switch. Probably both. So it's a case, I think, of a big dismantling job. Let's put that down there. Switch cleaner is not going to be good enough. So we have got to get this whole board out of here. Let's turn the power off and disconnect it in the cable that I use. This is one I've used before on different things, so I can disconnect it from the power supply up here without having to unplug all the plugs from the power supply. So we'll stop the music. And we'll now look at how easy it's going to be, or how difficult it's going to be, to get this whole circuit board out of there. Now all the output transistors are all clipped to this heatsink. The heatsink is one solid piece of aluminium, so I've got to unclip it. There's no two ways about it. Let's just get a pair of pliers, not those, they're plug pullers. Let's get a pair of pliers on one output stage. The service information I was sent is just the schematic diagram. No, not sure how this is designed to come off. Maybe the manufacturer's got a special tool. There is a slot down here. Let's get the old close-up cam so you can see a bit better what we're doing. I think that makes a bit more sense, doesn't it? Right, so we've got a clip, and the clip is mounted against this heatsink, as you can see there. So it obviously fits in that little slot and clips down there, and I think that this slot here is designed so that you can get leverage like so. See, it's coming up, but how do you then have to get presumably something else in there to lift it up. Tell you what, let's try that. Will pliers grip and lift? I would guess there is a specialist tool that probably clips and goes in there, and then you lift and pull back. There's got to be a way of doing this. Bigger pair of pliers. Let's take them that back there a little bit. If I lever it with that, that is hard. I don't know how I'm going to get that out of there. I think I'm going to have a bit of a break and have a look at this and do a search on the web to see if anyone's ever worked on one of these before. It might be somebody has worked on one of these also on a YouTube channel, and may have had to do that and has developed a way or a tool. So bear with me, I'll be back after the break. Enjoy the adverts. Well, thanks to another chap who's done a repair on similar JL audio, who showed me a simple technique, and of course I was levering it by going that way, which would have opened that up, but he did it by levering it that way, using a pair of pliers with a bend on the end. And I've got an old pair of pliers, a really old pair of pliers here, and the same thing applies. So just get the plier, let's just open it up a little bit more, get the plier into that slot and lever it that way, and away it comes. So we can now take all these clips off. Oh, sorry, camera wasn't in there. These were bigger ones at this end, like that, and I had to do it sort of a bit that way and a bit that way. Let's get the camera around the other way and I'll show you what I did. Same thing on these ones. Well, they're all small ones, so they're going to be the same as the first that I did. Trying to do things with a camera in the way is never easy, so I probably have got another old pair of pliers somewhere in an old toolbox with a bend in it that I may be able to modify, but this is working. We're getting them off. Like so. So there's all the clips, and the two longer ones are along here. Let's just mark long and long clips for there, just so I'll remember a bit later on. Put two little green L's on there. Right, so having got those out, I think the next thing is to just gently tease the transistors away from the side. Like so. I'm not sure if they got mica washers behind them. I can't quite see. There's a lot of thing. This is obviously a thermal sensor and transistor. Same on this side. Tease these transistors away. Yeah, they have got mica washers. In fact, there's a whole strip there. Is that glued onto there? It might be. That one, yeah. So maybe take that. Oh no, that's a separate mica washer. As is this one. Want to be doing that with something like a spudger. Just very gently teasing that off there. And leave the mica washer attached to there, won't do it any harm as long as I don't damage it. I'm taking it out. I'll leave that one attached. Let's go back over this side and tease the mica washer away from there. The camera's flickering because I've got my window open, so I've got sunlight coming in, which sunlight is obviously not at mains 50 Hertz frequency. So having released that, the whole board should now hopefully slide out. Oh no, I've got some screws. I got some big screws to undo there. So I need my big Allen key. Is that the same as the other ones on the outside? It is. So we're lucky on that respect. Now actually, I'm thinking about it, rather than sliding the circuit board all the way out, if I can just slide it far enough that way, I can just unsolder those switches without having to take the whole board all the way out. See how we get on. Oh, they're in plastic mounts. Is that free? Yes, the board is free now. Look, that's good. Let's get rid of that and go back to this one, and we've got the overhead camera as well, so we should now be able to just swing it over and get at these switches. Back to the close-up. Let's pull that blind back down again. Stops the old flickering cam. So ideally the best thing to do is to remove these switches completely, dismantle them, put them back together. it could be that we may have to get replacements. That may be the ultimate fix. But in the short term, I think I'm going to give it a go with the old desoldering tool and take them out. Right, so I've just got to get this going, all set up. I've got to clean it first because I used it the other day and I haven't cleaned it since. I've got a bit of clean and I'll get ready to do that. So I'll come back to you after the next lot of adverts. I don't know. Sometimes I put mid-roll ads in and they just put them in anywhere, and sometimes they actually give me the option of where to put them. So if I put an ad break in, that makes sense, doesn't it? So enjoy the ads or skip them, whichever. Right, here we are back, and it's been a little while because I decided to stop and have a bite for some lunch as well. Nice bacon sandwich, lovely, yum yum yum. Got the old desoldering tool on, but whilst I was looking at things, I made some notes about the actual switch, and I thought, just in case, but I can't get these switches out of here easily without possibly damaging them, and B, if I can get them out and they break or I can't repair them, it's best to find some replacements. So luckily I managed to find a reference to a sort of a switch that was the same on Radio Spares, but they didn't have any. But it led me to look, funnily enough, on eBay, and I managed to find some switches which look roughly the same. So they're not exactly the same, but they look roughly the same. They look like the same pitch, the same switch arrangement, 3-position switches. So I'm hoping I've ordered those. That's a couple of days away. But so let's see how we get on with taking this switch out and giving it a clean up, putting it back and seeing what happens, and then if necessary do the other one. If I can't get that far, then I'm going to just stop, wait till the switches arrive. So I'll probably put this on whiz through, as I'm going to use the desoldering tool, which makes an awful lot of noise and it takes time. Right, well, having stripped down and totally cleaned up my desoldering tool, the classic one is obviously you have to take the tube out and empty it out, and if you lose the little felt pad at the back here, a couple of bits of J-cloth cut into a circle will work just as well. But mine was that the actual solder that had collected in the inner tube of the heat part there, that had actually gone solid, and it took me quite a while to heat it up and then clean it out with the little files that they provide. But it is now, I'm hoping, sucking beautifully, as they say. So let's heat up this thing. It's not quite up to temperature yet, still 440, whereas I want it to be 480. Let's heat it up. I can feel the solder's just melting. And that's working, yeah, that's working a lot better than it did before. Right, just the legs, the actual switch legs now, yeah, they're clean. They're coming up nicely. Yeah, have a look at that. That's much better. Those legs are coming up much better. You can see that those two there I've just cleaned, and that one. So keep going at this and we should be there. I think we're pretty much clear on that. Let's just put a little screwdriver in the side and see if it will push down. Just a little bit of gentle leverage. And I think we're going to have to tweak it with soldering iron at the same time, because that's not coming clear. I'm not putting a lot of pressure because I don't want to crack the PCB at all. I just want it to be loose enough so it can just drop out gently. There it goes. not forcing it, I'm just letting gravity do the part of the job for me. And I think we should be clear. Now, right, so we have the switch out, which is good. Now sometimes, in a lot of cases, I've done this many times, I've actually recovered a switch by stripping it down and fixing it. So generally speaking, what you've got in there is little contacts that slide along, and in a plastic holder, there's the holder, and if you look inside you can just see the little metal bit. So what you have to do is release the little clips there, either end, just gently bending them up. Be careful not to bend it too far because they will snap off and then you're stuck. So that's released those, and there's one more on this side here as well. Look. I'm just going to use a bit of leverage there to get that one open. Try not to distort the metal work too much, and hopefully the whole switch body will now come out. It will. Straighten that leg up a little bit, it's a bit bent, like so. And you've got the two sliders inside and the contacts, and even though I'd sprayed this with contact cleaner, you can see that it's still not clean enough. So take the two little brass contacts out and get yourself your toothbrush and your isopropyl alcohol and give it a good brush. This is just getting rid of any gunk that's in there already. And the contacts don't always come up clean with isopropyl, so this is where I use a fibre pen, and you just run the fibre pen along the contacts and see them coming up nice and bright. There's that nice and shiny out. Do the other side of it as well. Do this other set of contacts. You shouldn't need to, but occasionally, even using a fibre pen doesn't always get these contacts as clean as it could do, and you may need to just scrape with a screwdriver or a sharp implement down one side. So that should be good enough. Now for the two little wipers, these are a bit more difficult, so what I do is I tend to hold them just with my fingers at one end and just run the fibre brush down, trying to force it inside the little spring, and turning it round. Same again the other one. Of course, if you can identify a spare part and find brand new switches, fit them, but this is just something that you can do if you can't. I'm pretty sure I found some replacement switches. The only thing is, although the switch looked right, had the right number of connections and the right pin layout, the one thing that was missing on the page where it was being advertised was the dimensions. So the switch itself could be half this size instead of the whole of this side. Right, now putting it back together, obviously where one side you've got this little nug here that clips in, so you know it's got to go that way. So just take a pair of tweezers, drop your little contacts into the slots, like so. Gently push that down over the top. And it should just drop straight in there. Make the contacts. Now you can of course test it before you put it back in. Testing is always wise. So those two are working, and we switch it one position, and it should be this one to this one, I think. Was it that one to that one? Yeah, that one to that one, and then finally that position there, it should be that one and that one. Yep. So that switch looks good. So now the tricky bits are pushing it back together, and what I usually do is I put it onto a bench. I'll bring it just to the edge of the bench so you can see there, and just gently pressing that bent over bit, just gently with the pliers back over like so. There's a tendency to grab hold of it and squeeze it with pliers, but sometimes that can distort the whole thing. So if you can just use a bit of elbow grease to force that over enough. Similarly at the ends here. That one and that one, and then make sure it does actually move along, and there we have a repaired switch. Let's get the other switch out and do the same again. And that switch is done. Let's just check the contacts are making as before. It should be that one to that one. Second position. That one to that one, that one to that one. Third position. That's it. Yep, that's done. Right, let's just nip that a little bit tighter. Nip that a little bit tighter. And that. Repaired both of those switches, I should say. Phew. Now we've got to do is solder them back in and do some more testing. Is this going to go straight back in? Possibly not, without a little bit of coaxing of legs. Right, I think I'm going to have to turn it on its side to get at this a little bit easier. Gently, in arkwright terms, jiggle. So you don't want to go just ramming it in there and then realising you bent one of the legs over. In fact, actually, I think I'm going to lay it down. I can actually see a bit better that way. Yes, I see what's happened. Some of the legs, just in the switch legs, just bent a little bit. There we are, that one's okay, that's gone back in. Check the alignment of that one. One of the outside legs is a little bit out. Just making sure that all the legs are through. Yep. Extra specs on. Yeah, all the legs are through. Let's do some soldering. Actually, that one's not quite, there we are, that's better. Wasn't quite all the way through, so let's solder. There we are, that's better. We're done. We are switch head fixed. So turn the amp over again. Now in here we've had two long screws for the circuit board position. Just get that over the hole so we can screw down into it. Could have left these in, I only had to unscrew them part way, never mind. Well, that's the wrong driver. Here's this one. Right. So then we slide the big long strip of So in fact, actually, we'll just take that out for a fraction of a second, because we'll put some fresh heatsink compound in there. We'll use a let's use a spudger. And then a little bit more on the back of each transistor. Put those clips in place. Just get all the sander clips together. And then the two long clips on the other side. Oh, interesting, a little serial number on the back of one of those little clips. I guess there's a reason for that. So I'm guessing you should just push in and go down. I didn't think I'd need to twist them. That's in all the way. Perhaps needs tapping into place. I think it needs squeezing. Yep, that seems to be the way to get it back in. Yeah, it's just pushing it in and then tapping it down. I'll tell you what, it's got to be a better, oh I know, this one's got like a flat edge to it. Yep, that seems to be in place. Is it? I'm not sure. I'm wondering whether I need to use a bit more squeezability, like something like that. But before I do, I want to put something around there to protect that. Never having come across heatsink clamps like exactly like this. Ah, there we are. That's better. Yeah, that's what it needs. It needed mechanical force that I couldn't do, like that. So there we are. Now, more heatsink compound required. On the back of these transistors, the what's going on? It's on the back of my hand. Get some read now. Like so. Yep. No, just some more heatsink compound there. Just squeeze them in there. And you get 1 6. Some of these. Some of these, down there. That. Right, so I think the easiest way to do these is to turn it round. And again, we've got a big long strip of mica which has come away. Right, I should do it. Just get them all there. Wait, it's too far. Just get it. Get it on. Come on. That's on. The difference is there. Right, that place. The difference is there. Get on the middle. No one, no one. Let's do one. So what's that one? What was it? Right. Come on. Come on. We are done in that respect. We have put it back together so far. So, are we ready for a power on test? Oh no, the other thing he said was that the input sense gain, which is, let's feel the sense gain, that's these little pots here. That one and that one and that one. Oh, blimey. There's no way into them. There's no way into them. I suppose I should have. Well, what would I have done if I'd looked at them when I was out? So let's take this little top board out. Definitely, oh, he said it was intermittent. It could have been a dry joint and I missed it. I didn't look. Oh no. Let's have a look from my eyepiece. Oh, don't tell me I've got to take it all out again. No, they don't look dry jointed to me. I think the pots themselves are just dirty. Let's take this last little bit out here. I think this is a separate little PCB. It looks like it's on a plug and socket. See, eagerness. Over eagerness can be your downfall. Because I was eager to get it back together after having removed and fixed those switches. I forgot about the control knobs. Right. Yeah, this is on a little circuit board, so we can take that out. Ooh, got a bit of swarf there, I think. Ah, now. Is that what I think it is? That's a rivet. We've obviously got multiple screws, multiple sections rather, but there are some little holes in the side. Are they holes or are they just bits of the metalwork? They're bits of the metalwork, but they might allow us access. Well, that wasn't what I did, so I didn't clamp that bit there. So I'm wondering if we can just drizzle some amber cleanse into the side. So just to show you what I'm doing, on these pots on the side, can't quite see it because this post is in the way, but on this pot and on this pot there are bits of the bit available. So what I'm going to do is just drizzle a little bit of amber cleanse onto that bit there and hope that that will get inside and clean the contacts. If it won't, we're going to probably have to see if we can saw some of these switches, these controls. So we've got a slot in it. Let's put my slotted screwdriver in it. Actually, that feels like it's loosening up. Let's put some on this one as well. Okay, well, if it turns out that's a dry joint, although it just doesn't look like it's a dry joint, but if it turns out that that's what it is, I'm going to have to strip it all down again. Oh dear. Oh dear, Shaggy. Don't know what that's supposed to be. Sort of like Scooby-Doo-ish. I'll tell you what the other thing we'll do while we've got these switches here is we'll just give them a So the actual fault was not working on channel 3, intermittent on channel 4, okay on channels 1 and 2, and having removed those switches, clean them thoroughly and put them back, should in theory have fixed the fault. Let's just open my window at the minute because the speakers are just behind the blind. Music and channel 1, oh no, that's channel 1 left. Left is the that's right. Turn this on and we're ready to play with that. Let's get the power supply. Okie dokie. Triple check we haven't left anything wandering around, we haven't unplugged anything. Let's apply some power and see what happens. We've got a power light. Yes. Whew. So pot we cleaned is now working. Oh, that's the other two. So let's go into channel 3 and 4, which is the middle two. And the other pot. I like old Smokey's Lounge. So I love it when a plan comes together. Oh, that, ladies and gentlemen, dogs, cats, boys and girls, is fixed. Had me a bit worried, but we got there in the end. And I've got some switches coming that I don't need to use, but I thought better to get some just in case. It's only a tenner for 4 switches, I think. So they'll always come in handy in the future. You never know, this might fail again, the switches might break up altogether, corrosion, whatever. But it is working. And that was a control that wasn't. I thank you all. Right, let's put it all together. Reassemble, check and test. I'll whiz through this bit because you've seen me taking it apart. Right, let's reconnect it all. Yep, we're all done. We're working. There we are, a JL audio amplifier. God, what a task. Just taking it apart is a job and a half, and you need tools that are not normally available, well, not normally used for audio repairs that I'm familiar with. Allen keys, great big pliers to squeeze the heat sinks in. Anyway, it's all done. Seems to be working fine. So thanks very much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed the video. I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.